Hello everybody, welcome to the AusSearch MapIT webinar. We're very excited to have you here. We've got the majority of our people have already joined. Look at you all, very punctual. Hope you've got your food ready to go and that you're going to be able to sit down, have a coffee and enjoy this session. Hope you've got your computers open so that you can go through the screen as we do here for you. So on behalf of AusSearch, my name is Michelle Blitzarves, I'm the CEO. It's lovely to have you here, welcome. Today we have a couple of presenters for you. Craig Turner from SDG Land Developments. Most of you will know him, he won't be a stranger to you. And Cherie Watkins from InfoTrack. One of the things that you might not know about AusSearch is that we are backed by InfoTrack, and InfoTrack is the largest property information service provider in the country, and they have about 400 staff. And our account manager is Cherie Watkins, who is always available to answer any of our queries. So when we have questions, we know that we have people that we can call on your behalf to get those answers for you. So we've put this webinar together with them for you to get a greater understanding and insight into some of the changes that have occurred on the platform, and also to talk about some of the future changes that are coming. So there will be continual, like all good software, it has to be regularly updated, and that's what we'll be doing. So just a couple of housekeeping things for you while people are still coming in and joining what's going on here. Oh, I have to click the screen, not press page down. Okay, thank you. See how helpful they are here at InfoTrack? We're actually doing this webinar in their premises. So a couple of housekeeping things about the way the webinar will work. So if everybody could just raise your hand, which is the little button over there on your right, you should have a button there that just says that you can hear us. And if you can't, there will be a chat box that you will be able to tell us that you can't hear us. Oh, look at that. Thank you, Simon. I see that hand. Any other hands? Oh, look at that. Kelly can hear us. Anthony, Alan, welcome all. It's fantastic to have people joining us from across the state. Really, really exciting to see you all joining in with us. There's a few more that we're expecting. So fantastic to see. Brian, how you going? Hi, Paul. Good to see you too. Awesome. Great. Now also there's a little handout there you can download that will just show you a little bit of the front cover. There will be a PowerPoint presentation that we will send to you. Joe will send that out to you at the end of today so that you've got that you can access. Unfortunately, this is not going to be a two-way conversation. This will just be us talking to you. So you should hopefully have your computer audio going, or you might be dialing in via the phone, but either one works. And of course, if you have any questions, please be sure to type a question. Somebody might just write a question right now, just so that thank you. Thank you, Rachel. I'm glad you can hear us. So I'm going to be monitoring the questions while Craig's doing the talking, and if I think there's something that's immediately needs to be answered, we'll try and jump in and get Craig to answer that for you. Otherwise, we'll come back to the questions at the end of the session. So do feel free to enter any questions that you've got. Thank you, Mark. Testing, got you. So we will try to answer those questions as we go through. Of course, many of you have contacted us to say you can't get all your team here today at 12 o'clock. So this webinar will go up onto our website and you will be able to access the information from this afterwards and share it with the rest of your team. Some of your firms that I've visited, I know one or two of you might use AusSearch and another two might use something else. I can't imagine why. But hopefully you'll be able to share this around and show some of your team members the benefits of using AusSearch. And I think Craig's going to talk a little bit more about that. Some of you who aren't AusSearch users, can I just say thank you so much for joining us. We're hoping that you'll get great insight into this webinar and learn some more about that. So I'm going to now switch off the webcam. Nobody else wanted to be on video. I don't know why that is, but anyway, I'm going to switch off the webcam and hand you over to Craig Turner, who's going to take it from here. Over to you, Craig.
Good afternoon, everyone. Are people able to hear me? Maybe someone can post a question so we know. My first time doing a webinar, so the good thing is you don't have to see my face. You can just see what is up on the screen. I'm just going to go through a couple of slides to begin with. Then I'm going to get into Aus Search and the way that many of you, probably a lot of you will already be using a lot of the functions. There's a few functions there that you may not be aware of. We'll go through all of that. There has been a few of us at SDG who've been working with InfoTrack over the last 18 months to get this MapIT software or this MapIT up and running. And it is a great system. And as Michelle said, it is new. We are launching it. There will be updates about every 3 to 4 months. What we would really appreciate is you guys sending in your requests of what you'd like to see into the future, and they'll be adopted as the software is being upgraded. For those who aren't too familiar, Aus Search is owned and operated by ACS. Look, it is one of the functions that allows us to bring some money in, and one of the ways that we can keep our membership rates so low for everything that you get. It is run by surveyors and for surveyors, the only searching that is run by surveyors and for surveyors. But I think the thing that differentiates Aus Search from every other provider is that all our profits go back into the profession through sponsorship. So for those guys out there who are using other providers, have a think about where your money's going. For those who use Aus Search, on behalf of the profession, I do thank you. If you can continue to do that, we are able to do great things from TAFE and university right through to people that have been in the profession for a long time. And the Aus Search board are proud sponsors of many, many different events through the surveying calendar. We love that we can pump all our profits back into surveying. It's the reason that ACS originally started Aus Search, was to be able to put money back into the profession. We all have to use search. It's all part of what we do day by day. So for those who are users, we thank you. For those who aren't, it'd be great if you can think about it. I'll show you how you can sign up today. Guys, one of the interesting things in terms of search, at the recent ACS hourly rates survey that we did, we have one of the things that we do is we survey our members to see whether they actually pass on their search costs. And 30% of member firms actually don't pass on their costs, their search costs. It's a bit like maybe going to the mechanic and getting him to do a service, and he charges you for his time, but he doesn't charge you for the air filters and the oil and everything else he puts in. LPI search is a direct cost to your business, and you should be passing it on because 70% of other firms do it. A couple of little figures there. We sort of did a bit of a look at what people are paying. So it's about 1.2 mil is the 30% of users who aren't passing on their search costs. That's what their outlay is, and they're missing out on about 1.6 million in lost revenue. So that's a fair bit of money. I think anyone can agree with that. And so we do encourage all firms out there to pass on their search costs as a disbursement. If you're not sure what people are charging, the average across the state is 20. It approximately costs about $15 for search items. So if you're charging less than 15, you're going to be losing money. I do recommend putting it up, but the average is about $20. There's a lot of firms I know in Sydney start charging 25. So those city-based firms, the metro firms, you could think about putting your prices up. You're going to match a lot of the other firms that are out there. Some people have asked, they're not sure how to pass on the disbursements. This is probably something that you could just put into your quotes. And I know that everyone out there has written quotes for their clients. You can just say that, you know, all documents purchased from LRS will be charged at X amount per document, whatever your business wishes to charge. For those that don't pass on search, this is probably a photo I'll leave with you. You're really just putting money down the drain. 70% of firms are passing on their costs. Don't be one of the 30% that aren't. It is a direct cost to your business. You do need search for your jobs, and so you should be passing that on as a disbursement. But that's enough of that. We're going to move on to now the actual Aus Search. So we'll see how we can do it. How do I get on to? Bear with me for a second. There we go. Guys, this is a new screen when you log into Aus Search. For those who aren't members, you can go to aussearch.net, and the first thing I recommend you do is you click this to sign up to Aus Search, and you can fill that out. That'll go through, and then you'll be one of the many surveyors using Aus Search, one of the many surveyors contributing to the surveying profession through the sponsorship that Aus Search does. But this is the front page. You'll notice that it has changed a little bit for those who have been long-term regular Aus Search users. And obviously, you just go into the login screen, which we click there. So that's pretty simple. Most people know how to do that. What I'm going to do is spend some time now just going through all the different functions, all the functions that I'm aware of. There's more there that I'm unaware of, but this will just go through how you can use search for a lot of your everyday stuff. And I'll just go through slowly on some of these for those of you who are taking notes, who have printed out maybe the screen and you want to write some notes to that. So up in the top left-hand corner, this is our search bar. We all use Google. We're all familiar with search bars. We all know how to use search bars. You have the option of either typing in an address or typing in a lot and DP. So we might start with one that I've prepared before. We all know addresses out there. I'm just going to go to an area within the country. Let me see if I can type this in. All right, I'm just going to click on that. So there we can see we've got a map there. Using the scroll bar on your mouse, you can zoom in and you can zoom out. One of the great things about Aus Search is that the back-end cadaster stays in there as you move around. It's always there. It's always in the back end. So that's fairly simple. Most people probably understand how to use that. You can obviously put in street addresses as well, anything that you want to search. The other way is that you can search by lot and DP, and you know, it's the same way that we would search in the LRS sites. We can just put that in, and that will then bring us to that address we're looking at there. You can also see that it's got the street addresses there. We could have searched from this block by that as well. One of the things that sometimes comes up is there's the odd plans that are part of a section. You can very easily search by lots that are part of a section of a plan, but it is a little bit tricky. So I'm going to put one in there. Obviously, we put the lot number. Then we put the section. It could be a number. It could be a letter. If it's a letter, it has to be a capital. If you put a lowercase at this stage, it won't find it. This will be refined in the next version that comes out, but you must put a capital in when you're looking at that, and then that will take us out to a site there. So that's fairly sort of straightforward. Probably most of you who have been using the MapIT function will find that you can work your way around that. We have some over here on the left-hand side. You can see there are some little rows there. So there are added bits that you can to this sort of map function here. So we can click on the cadastre, put the eye on. You want to view it. So that will put on the cadastral information overlaid over the top of the actual street address. I'll talk a little bit about skims, but we can turn skims marks on as well. You'll see that they'll start to propagate up. There we go. There's some around here. And some of you, I'm just going to turn this off so it's not as crowded. We've got some administrative boundaries for those who are interested in that: suburbs, local government areas, state electoral districts, etc., parishes, counties, and we've got some hydrography information if there is anything to do with creeks or stuff like that. So these are little bits that I'd recommend just playing with, getting familiar with it. But for most of us, and most of the time, you probably won't be turning these ones on. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to show some of the search functions, and we're going to go to an address. All right. So what we're going to look at is how we can use Aus Search just for our day-to-day work processes. So I'm just going to work in this section here and show you the different ways that we go about or how MapIT works to search for those, search for that information that you need. So down the bottom here, you can see that we've got down the bottom of the screen, a single, a select, radius, polygon, line, and clear. And then in the top right-hand corner, we've got titles, we've got plans, and we've got skims. So when you're looking at, so we've just clicked on skims and that's all just come up. We'll clear that for the moment. No, it's going to stay. All right, so single obviously is pretty self-explanatory. You might just say, I want to know a bit about this lot here, and it's not working. There we go. We want to select, then we hit the select button, and that will come up. So we can see in this top right, there's that title there, and you might say, look, that's the one I'm after. It is 472 Pacific Highway. I'm going to select it, and when I select it, it comes up red, so you know what it is, and you see this little balloon floating above it. It shows the DP, it shows the title information there. From straight down there, we can order a CRE, and that's how easy ordering a CRE is, straight from that MapIT function. We don't need to type anything else in. We just click the button, and we're back there. So we'll go into the order screen a little bit later, but we're just going to go back to our results for the moment. You can download some of this information if you want. Some of you may want to download some information for your own QA systems or whatever it may be. We'll just see if that pops up. We'll pop that up a bit later. It's probably more useful for those guys looking to download the skims marks and maybe being able to upload that straight into, there we go, lot address in an area, looking to upload it into Land XML. We also can do multi-selects, so you could sort of click on that one and click on that one and maybe click on that one, which is very easy if you specifically want to look for lots. But sometimes you might be doing a big job and you might go, look, I'm doing a job from here down to here. So click on where you want to start, double click on where you want to finish. And you can see that it has pulled up all the titles. And you might want to say, well, I need to order all those titles. You can click in that top right-hand button, and that will select all of those. Click it off, click it on. You can see it highlights red when it's being selected. Or you may specifically just go, no, I just need that one, and I need that one, and I need that one. And then to order those titles, you just go to Order Titles. You can hit the Verify button, which some of you may be unfamiliar with. And this will give you a bit more information, and it will also give you especially who the proprietors are. And that may be very useful if you just want to try and find out who owns the property. Now, we haven't ordered this yet, so this information is available prior to you actually having to pay for it. And I know that a lot of people find that very beneficial. You may say, look, I don't need that, so I'm going to just cross that out and I'll delete that. I only need this title. So we're going to go back. So we don't need that now. So let me say, so we'll clear that. It's very easy. If you want to do something new, just hit the clear button. Obviously, you can also search by radius, and that will highlight everything there. Or you may want a polygon, which could be good for selecting those skims marks that you may need for whatever reason. And it's a double click to finish, just like Spatial Services site. But we'll go back now to the DP, and so we've just looked at the title. It is exactly the same for plans. So if we go to plans here, you'll see that there's blue and green that comes up. Now the blue means that they're survey plans. The green means that they're comps or unknowns. Now this comes straight from LRS, and it's what you would see on a CRE plan. So we know sometimes you order these plans and it says that it's a survey plan, and you order and it's just a comp. Don't go ringing up Aus Search and saying, hey, it said it was a survey, but it's a comp. It's the information that you would see on a CRE, and we can only display that. You'll also notice here, if we move to the plan section here, we've got some addresses there and some of the underlying plans for that. And so if we drop down to this one here, we highlight that red there, you can see that that's strata plan 73221, and underneath that is the consolidation plan. So, which is very helpful if you want to know, this may be no use for you, the strata plan, but you want to know the underlying base plan that's there. And some of them, like this DP here, it may have a number of underlying base plans. Once again, that information that is displayed there is what comes from LRS. Some of the older strata plans, they will not show all this information. It's only what we can grab from LRS. If they don't supply it in what's called an API file, we can't display it on our screen. So that's an easy way of being able to search for multiple lots at one time. And as I said, you may want all these plans. And once again, we just click on the ones that you want. If you needed every title, as we said, you just click up the top and it will select all those titles. The last thing is the SCIMS information. We can see that the SCIMS has come up here. Let's say that you're doing a detail survey up here in this lot here. We'll just select it and you're going to provide some information for your team that's going out. Once again, you can, when selecting SCIMS marks, we go in the top right-hand corner there. You can individually, I'll clear this for a sec, we can individually just select the marks. And we can, I need to go to multi. But probably the easiest way to do it is just to draw a polygon around what you want. And that will then bring up here all the marks. One of the ways that we use it is we use this, as I said, you might have someone heading out to do a job here and you've got this SCIMS information. We'll often just use the snipping function and we'll just do a screen grab just like that. And then you can just print that off. And someone going out in the field, they have all this information there. Now the information from the SCIMS point of view, which is the, trying to find where my mouse is. The information from SCIMS, it's that is displayed is being pulled straight from SCIMS. So if you were to go and go and get the details for this SSM 125924 from SCIMS, it will display exactly the same information that is there. We are working to be able to print that out to be able to use, but at the moment we do some screenshots. It's also for those using who may want to upload some of that information into, let me go back to SCIMS. Those looking to upload information for LandXML, you have your information here which you can click on, and then you can go to send it to a SCIMS export and it will display all the information that we see on that right hand side. So easting, northing, your classes, zones, your heights, your scale factors, latitude and long if you need to use it as well. So that's very easy. That's just a click away to get that information. All right, I'll answer a question in a sec. One last thing which is very easy. We all know that depending whether you're in the city or in the rural, there are radiuses looking for marks. So you can actually click on a thing on a site and we can see you can go, I want to go for 350 meters, and that will bring up all the marks. So that's useful, especially in areas where a lot of the marks are missing and you want to see if you comply with the regulations. And so that's much easier than the old way. You can, as I said, just click on the block where you are and set a radius to whether it's 350 or a kilometre or whatever you need. So we have a couple of questions.
Question about 88B.
88Bs, I'll get onto that. You can't order mark sketches at this stage. That will be coming in a newer version. Is a Excel download the same format as that from 6? I'm unfamiliar with what 6 downloads. What you saw on the screen is what it downloads as, but there could be a way if people needed it in a different formatted differently, we could look at doing that. Does the plan function work for portion plans as well? Sorry, Paul, I'm actually unsure, but we will look into that. So there will be questions I can't answer and others can't answer, but we'll find those answers and we'll get back to everyone with that. Can we get a select all tick box? We do have that for one of the questions was, is there like a select all? For titles we can. It's up at this spot just here. So if we click on that, it selects everything. In terms of plans, there isn't that yet, but I'm not sure whether people would want to select every plan that pops up. You may want to be a little bit selective, but that's something that we can easily add for the next generation. All right, so I want to move on now, and someone brought up the question about the 88Bs, and I want to show a function that is a great function that many people are unfamiliar with the MapIT. So I'm going to go back to this here, to this block of land. So let's say that we're working on this site here, and we're just going to select this site there, and we're going to order. Up the top here, you got your reference. I know many of you will put in references in relation to maybe job numbers. So when you type it in, you got to make sure you hit enter, or it won't. It will disappear. So we're going to order the title. We can verify it, and we're going to order the title. And then we can go to order history, which will show us everything that we have ordered. Or the other way to get to order history is you go up on this little avatar up here, and it's also got an order history. Searches will actually take you to the old search engine, and we'll be looking at that in a minute. You can also get to the old search engine by coming down and clicking on the Aus Search icon. The Aus Search engine was that we're all used to. So yeah, so you put that up there. We've ordered that. We go to order history now. So this will come up with all the orders that you've done. Obviously, you may put in your searches by job number or any other thing. So you can look at them and just click on that, and that will just bring up anything you've ordered under that reference that you've put in. We're just going to go back here. So when we've got here, we've got our title. So what we've got the option is a view and a download. I'm going to show download first because the view is going to take us to a different screen. So when we hit download, we can see down the bottom it comes in as a PDF, and we all know what titles look like, and you can then print that off. So I'm going to close that one down. If you've got a DP that you're doing, and have we got one in there at the moment? I'll jump back. Go back to maps. We forgot something. So we're going to go back to the maps. We'll select on clear the results. We'll select on this again. We'll go to the plan, and we'll call this test. All right, so we're going to order the plan. All right, so we'll go back to order history. While you're waiting, there's a refresh button is up in the top right-hand corner, so you can keep clicking it if you want, if you're a bit impatient, and wait how long the LPI or LRS is going to give us the plans. The reason I'm showing you just want to show the plan first is because once we move on to this next title, we're going to jump into a different screen, and we won't necessarily be coming back to this screen. There we go. So if we hit view, it will come up, and if we hit download, there's the plan, and we can save that to our systems and everything that we're used to. All right, so, and once again on the left-hand side, we've got the our different reference numbers for those who are using, and all will be everything that we do. So let's go back to the title, and we're going to hit view. Now what view has done is view has actually taken us back to the old Aus Search portal. And if we go to Aus Search portal that most are aware of, the first time you log into this on your session, you will need to put in your login details. We've already done that this morning, so it takes us straight to here. So this is probably what you're familiar with before when you're ordering titles. And once again, you can save it, so you can download as a zip. So you might have a whole number of searches that relate to a particular reference, and you can, in this search bar, search for your reference, and you might just want to save it as a zip. You might want to email it to yourself whatever you want to do there. You may even want to print it off. But probably one of the things that not many people are aware of is this tab up here, Plans, Dealings and Certificates. And I think this is one of the great tabs up there, because we can look here in this particular DP. This particular DP, I'm just checking it's got everything there, has a whole lot of information relating to it. And if we click on Plans, Dealings and Certificates, what it will bring up is all that stuff. If we go back to the title, all that stuff in the second schedule there, it's now coming up. So you might go, you know what, I want to order the DP and I want to order the dealing that goes with it, and there might be some leases. Keep in mind that if there's 88Bs, if there's other easement plans relating to this particular site, that will all come up there, and you can actually order all of that. I might show you one, it might be easier. We'll look at some titles that have been done here. Let's see. Let me go back, just so you understand how much time this can actually save. So I'll go back to one that we did before. So we jump to that. I'm going to select that. Go to the title. Order title. Once again, you can verify if you want to, check some of the details, but we're going to order that. Order history comes up straight away. We're going to view. It takes us back to the original. If we click on this Plan, Dealings and Certificates, so there's our base plan there. There's an 88B attached to that plan. We can order that. We can order that. There's a couple of dealings. There's an easement plan there. Yeah, we want that as well, and we'll get these dealings as well. You may not, most people won't order a dealing with a mortgage, but you definitely want to get the dealings that relate to easements and covenants and restrictions and all that. That's all being pulled off here. All you got to do is click there. So no, in the old days you'd write everything down, you get your title, you write it all down. Now it just automatically comes up, and you can all just select it straight from there. So that saves a lot of time. And I'm going to order all of that. And what it does is just waiting. It's thinking. It's lunchtime. Might be a lot of people using. There we go. You can see here on the left, this is everything we've ordered. And this is all coming up under this test here. So, and when it ticks, that means it's ready to download, and you can click on that. So we're going to go back home. So they're all popping up now. And one of the great things you can do is if you want to print all this, or you want to email it all to yourself, or you may, as we said, save it all as a zip function. Just by clicking on that, we'll select them all, and then you can just save it, download it as a zip or something like that if you want. All right, so the last thing I want to show is back to where we were just before, and back to this one here. No, not that one. Where were we? The title. That's it. All right. Often when we're preparing 88Bs, admin sheets or whatnot, you'll often, where we've got a company, you may want to find out who the directors are for preparing that documentation. Up here, this section here is called the reveal button, and if we click on that, it's going to take us to a bit of a graphical interface between some of the information that is on that CT. We've got these people here, who their mortgagee is, the address of the property. By clicking on this and clicking here, we can do a current ASICS search, which we'll do. Keeps our matter there, our description that we've got. So we hit look up. We want to make sure we're looking at the right one, and we're just going to select that one. And we order that. And this will bring up the information that you need to prepare the signing documentation. So who the directors of the company are, who secretaries are, stuff like that. So we're just waiting on that. But one of the interesting things is, now that we've ordered that and we've got that extra information, if we go back to the reveal button, it's now, this is what we saw originally, and that's the free information. That's good free information. Now we can see there's a lot more information here. And this is about where I stop and Cherie comes in, because this is outside of my pay grade and I'm not fully sure how this all works. But you can see all this information that is there. Back in the previous screen where we were downloading the ASIC search, you can get all this information, but this is a graphical information that is quite powerful. And there are lots of other little functions within the reveal space, as well as the old search engine that Cherie's going to go into that will be most beneficial. So I'm going to hand over to Cherie.
Thank you, Craig. Okay, yeah, so as Craig just took you into the reveal workspace, and he's ordered the ASIC extract, which has brought in the additional data that is on that document. Now, this workspace is fully interactive, so you can move the nodes where you want, or you can use one of our layouts up the top if you wanted to. Using reveal within your office, once you've got all the data, I think the main thing for you would be the ability to be able to export the information, whether you're printing it out or putting it into Excel spreadsheet, to be able to then use that data to complete any documents that you may have. There are lots of other information, other bits of information that you can obtain as well. So you can actually look at the two different documents from within here. So if you were in the reveal workspace and you wanted to look at that title search again, you can just click onto that title. Or if you wanted to view the full ASIC extract from within there, you can do that as well. So they will be permanently saved within that reveal workspace. The other tools here is that you can share the workspace with another member of staff or with your client. So by sharing, you're entering in their email address, and you can give them a time frame to review what you've seen, so they can quickly have a look at that. You can also take snapshots, so like images of this data. So if you do want to take a snapshot, you can then call it number 1 and hit save. And then if you change the workspace at all by changing the layout and you want to snapshot it that way, and you can save that. So at any stage you can go back in and look at those two images there. Okay, so if you did need to order a historical extract, there is a timeline feature that you can turn on. There's also a map feature which can be helpful, which will just show you where the properties are located from that particular, the title and the registered addresses from the ASIC extract. If you did need to do any additional searches, you can do them from the node, as Craig showed you earlier, which might be like a New South Wales title or anything from here, or you can do bulk searches. So you can do the address searches and selecting what you would want to do. Okay, so if there are two fields on there that are possibly the same and you want to tidy it up a little bit, you can merge those fields as well. So they're the basic tools of using Reveal. There is a lot more involved with it, but I think from what you would need, it's just the ability to be able to see those directors for completing that documentation, and be able to export that information. Okay, so the use of Reveal is free, and what you'll see on the home screen is that it will be a separate line item for you to be able to go back at any stage and look at those documents. Okay, so what I'm also going to be going through today is just a couple of other services. So as you may be aware, AusSearch is a full national service. So when you click onto the searches menu, you have access to all states and territories, as well as your corporate and some national information. I'm going to be just running through a couple of slides to run through just a couple of newer services that you may find useful. What I'll just run through first is if you ever do need to order any 149 certificates, as of the 1st of March, councils are transitioning and they're now going to be called 10.7 certificates. So just a little bit of information. So if you are looking for that when you're in the plans, dealings and certificates tab, you won't, for some councils, you won't see a 149, but it will be called a 10.7. Okay, the first additional service that I'm going to be running through today is police checks. Okay, so police checks are becoming a regular part of the onboarding process for all industries as they protect your employees, your clients and your business. InfoTrack is an ACIC accredited police check provider and you can access this via Aus Search. To access the police check, you need to navigate via the searches menu, down to national and then selecting police check. The first time that you access this, you will need to register. So you'll need to sign the customer contract and the deed of confidentiality. Once you've signed these forms, you can upload and register from this screen. Okay, so the first step is to fill in the basic information for your candidate, including the email address, and submit the order through. Okay, so your candidate will receive an email with a link to fill in their ID details and documents. They will be prompted to move through the required fields, entering their personal and ID information. The completed police check will be sent to you via email, which will be a check with either a disclosable court outcome or no disclosable court outcomes. Okay, so we will be providing more information, so you'll be able to look at the slides, and if you need any additional assistance with these searches, you can always let Aus Search know. Okay, so the second product that I wanted to discuss with you today is SignIt. SignIt is the ability to upload any document that requires a signature, and you can email it to your client for them to sign the document electronically. You can access SignIt via the searches menu or by clicking on the quick link at the top of the screen. The first step is to upload the documents that you are required to be signed. Then you then drag and drop to mark where the signatures and other fields are required. You enter. Once you have marked where the required signatures are, you then email the link for the document to the signers to sign them electronically. You can track the progress via SignIt dashboard and view the final copy of the signed document. Okay, so Craig, you've mentioned that some of these the documents that you may need, if your client's interstate or overseas, you'll be able to get those signed straight away instead of waiting for them to return. So if anyone needs any additional information about the SignIt product, then you can always let Aus Search know.
Fantastic. So that's really good. And then there's a few things that are coming soon. So part of the reason that I wanted Cherie to share with you about the police check component and the SignIt is that there's a lot more usability within Aus Search that we think many of our firms are not actually accessing because you concentrate so much on the surveying part, which is great, and the maps and the plans, and I know they're very important, but there's a whole lot of other usability that is there and available for you in the searching. And so feel free to have a bit of a play around, have a bit of a look, and then check back in with us with some questions. We've been working with InfoTrack over the last couple of months to really make sure that we have a regular list of upgrades, and some of you here have even suggested some changes and some things that frustrate you in the system, or some areas that you'd like to have, adapted and changed. And there is actually a button inside the Aus Search home screen which shows you where you can go to suggest a change. So every 4 months, the InfoTrack team that work on Aus Search, they sit down and they say, right, what will we work on over the next quarter? And they come up with all of your great ideas. So we've put this feedback box in there so that we can get your suggestions and your ideas. Craig sends emails through like almost daily about things he'd like changed and done, and they're always very, very responsive to get those things updated. So some things we can change quickly and fix quickly. Other things might have to go into the development pipeline. So just on that screen you had before, Cherie, there was a couple of things I think on that pipeline. Will that be page up? Will it work? There we go. So we are working on downloading the PDF summary, which I think Craig mentioned earlier. That's something that we've highlighted with them, that it would be good if we could just print that. And of course the snapshot tool, so that you don't need to use the snippet function. There are a few other things which are in the pipeline. Not all, of course, we'll be able to share with you as quickly as we might like, because they're sort of in that development phase, but we are certainly very open to your feedback. Now, before we go on to questions that some of you have raised, do we have any other slides, or have we just about covered it? Great. So we're up to questions. So we're just going to make our questions screen a bit bigger so that Craig can go back and answer some of those, and or Cherie. Great.
Guys, some of the questions, as Michelle said, some of them can be sent through for the next development stage. There's some questions there about distances, etc. on lines. All the questions that have been asked, especially in terms of the upgrades or things you'd like to see, we'll take that on board, and Aus Search will work with InfoTrack over the next few months to incorporate that into the next release. But a few questions there that I might try and answer. All right, what I'm going to do is jump back into the main screen, because I think I'll be able to answer a number of questions fairly easily, and we'll get that happening. All right, at the moment you've got, let's just call it the MapIT screen. Let's go back to the map, and we'll call this the search screen. Old school, new school. Some of you have asked whether there's ways to just order specific documents. I want this one particular plan, or maybe it's a previous plan on a site. It may be I just want to order an 88B. In terms of some of the previous plans, we were showing that earlier on. Where it may not work here. This is an older area in Sydney. Let's just see how we go. Scroll down the Northern Beaches. Hello to the CMS boys. Let's jump in here. This may or may not work, but let's just do a clear. Sometimes on the plans, it may, if there are underlying plans that come through with the API, and that's the information we get from LPI, it will show up here. So we saw that before with some of the strata plans and some of the other stuff, but that's not always the case. There was another question about just wanting to order an 88B. So we have to go back to the search screen, which was this bit here, which we can jump to easily down there. And that's when you go back to images. So a bit of searching the old school way, where you can do a document image, and that you put your reference in. You might want an 88B, management statements and bylaws. You can order your dealings through here, and obviously you put your reference through there. A lot of the functions through here are very similar to what you can get some of the basic functions on the LRS site. If you want a document inquiry, looking where a DP is, plan inquiry, we use these functions especially for PPNs and trying to find who the surveyor is. You've got your CREs, which you can put your cadastral information in, or you can just jump up here, click on that and order CRE, which is probably easier. This particular MapIT function won't solve every problem, and at the moment you won't be able to find some of those polygons that you see on the CRE. I think the best risk management tool is to order your CRE as well. This is just a great starting point to do and a very simple way to search. There will be times where you do need to jump back into here for some more detailed searches, but you may find that the MapIT function works for 80 to 90% of the searches that you normally do. So back in the images, and you got your reference map search and all of that. Can SIGNIT be used for administration sheets? That's I think the answer would be no on that, and that would be to do with the Conveyancing Act, I guess. Where it can be used, and I haven't used SIGNIT before, and I've only recently seen it as of a day ago. We'll be testing it out. It may be something you can use for quotations, etc. There may be something you can incorporate into your system where there could be some online signing, acceptance of a quote. But that's something just to play around with and have a look. I'm trying to read through some of the questions there. I probably hopefully answered most of them. Some of the technical stuff in terms of how the SCIMS data is downloaded and Excel type data, we will be talking to InfoTrack about and looking to, as we said, we want you to send some stuff in so we can see exactly how do you want it downloaded. If it's to be downloaded the same as LRS or Spatial Services, we can do that. In terms of the question I think before about portion plans, I'm unsure about that, but we'll look into that. CREs are free, and all these services across the top here are free for Aus Search members, which is what's free on the LRS site that you use is free on this, and if it isn't, contact Aus Search and it will be made free. But we've been through everything there.
What are we making free?
Whatever's free on, no.
Oh,
So whatever's free on the LRS site will be made. So we've gone through, pretty much we've covered most of the standard things that most of us would use day to day. There's always going to be the odd bit here and there, and no system will ever satisfy someone at 100%. We all know that. And so, but this is probably about 95%, which is good for most of the things we do. Thank you, Brian, for that comment. We'll pass that on in terms of portion plans again. I tell you what would be good. I'd like one or, and you can contact the Aus Search office for this, maybe one or two of the firms that are outside the city who do deal a lot of work with portion plans. If we could get two firms to send their details through to Michelle at Aus Search, and we'd like you guys to be some beta testers for us on some of the rural stuff. So the first two firms that send their information through to Joe and Michelle, you can test out a lot of the search functions that you use day to day. I don't really use a lot of portion plans in my day-to-day stuff. And look, some of this is probably more metro-centric because that's what we've been working on. Thanks, Brian. We'll put you down, and Jane as well. All right, I'll pass your information on to Joe and Michelle, and we'll get you guys as part of the testing as we move on to the next release.
Going back a little bit earlier, Craig, we've got sort of 5 minutes left. So if we haven't answered your question and you've got sort of some glaring question there that you really want answered, we'll answer that for you. Some of these questions we'll need to take away and either clarify with you, but we'll be able to get all of these questions afterwards, and so we'll make sure that we do follow up with you specifically. Some of the things we'll either need to check with LRS or have a look at, you know, what functionality you're using to answer that. I think the question about consistent download format with SCIMS and exporting SCIMS into a CSV file. You can export SCIMS to an Excel. Is that got a report downloadable XLS?
Well, at the moment you've got when we go to SCIMS, let's just clear that.
There, yeah, you can do
so we can do that, and then it will download down to your Excel file.
And you can save it as
you
a
can
CSV.
save it as a CSV if you want.
Fantastic. And you can't order an 88B without first ordering the title on MapIT. So
no, we've already
covered
addressed that.
one. Good.
Yeah, go back to the old school, back into that.
Can you search polygons as? Oh no, we talked about that one. So on CREs such as road reserves.
Yeah, we're looking into that. Not at this stage. No.
Okay. Well, keep working on it. Keep working on it.
We need some things to do for the next release.
Yeah, that's good.
We can't have everything done at once.
That's
so
right.
send through all the stuff you want to. As I said, guys, the more information you provide on what you'd like to see, the better we can make this product. We know that it's the best product in the industry at the moment, but we want to take it to the next level. So you just need to keep sending in what you'd like to see. Not everything can be done, and we will get back to everyone who sends in a request. It may be not technologically possible, and we'll let you guys know if that's the case.
Can you order road plans or non-current DPs in MapIT?
You can go back to order non-current DPs by the document image, and then you can hit the plan there and put your DP number in, etc. And you can look it up, and you can order it that way. In terms of the road plans, we'll look into that. We'll get back to people. Guys, there's still manual searching that needs to be done, and that won't be able to be online like here. And it's the same way. If you've got manual searches, then you just contact the Aus Search office, and we've got a manual searcher who will search that information up for you.
The question about PM sketches.
Not at the moment, but that will be coming up at some point. So at the moment, you can only get the details here. Keep in mind, though, that, as I said, this is live. This information that we see on the right-hand side, the details, is live coming out of the system. If you need sketches, there is the app that is available that will actually plot these on there so you can walk around. But we are looking to incorporate the SCIMS sketches. So you might click up here when you're ordering your data, and there might be a box to tick for getting that sketch. But that's going to be coming in one of the later releases. But the development team is working on that.
Fantastic. Well, thank you all so much. If you need to contact us, you can email us at admin@aussearch.net. We'll be happy to answer your questions, or you can contact us via the ACS New South Wales office, and we'll be happy to, I think we've got a slide actually that might have all of that final sort of detail for you. We're going to click back into that. And see, you can contact me directly. Fantastic, because I know how it all works. But I am learning, so I'm learning along with all of you. Fortunately, Cherie is very, very helpful, and she talks with me regularly about how some of this works. So hopefully you found today interesting. For those of you who haven't tried MapIT yet, can I encourage you to give it a go, and do let us know your feedback about how it's working for you, and some of the other search functionality. Have a bit of a play. Spend lunchtime on Monday playing as well, and see what you can find out. So we hope this has been very helpful for you, and we look forward to seeing you all again soon. Thank you all for your time today, and we'll catch up with you again at the next webinar.